gotten out of bed. But when you wake up and your first words are thank you, Lord, you are taking control of your spirit before the world has a chance to. When you open your eyes, don't rush into the noise. Don't start worrying about what you have to do, what went wrong yesterday, or what's coming tomorrow. Sit in that moment of stillness and let gratitude fill you. The first words you speak shape your mood. If you start with complaining, your mind starts looking for more to complain about. But if you start with thankfulness, your mind starts looking for more to be thankful for. Gratitude first thing in the morning isn't about ignoring reality. It's about setting the tone. You might still have bills to pay, problems to solve, and challenges ahead, but gratitude shifts your perspective so those problems don't crush your spirit. You have to train yourself to make thank you a reflex. It's like building muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. Soon it becomes second nature to see blessings before burdens. Even if you don't have the answers, you can thank God for the strength to handle what's coming. Even if you don't have what you want yet, you can thank Him for what you do have. Gratitude is the key that opens your day the right way. When you wake up saying thank you, you are starting from a position of victory. You are choosing joy before the enemy even has a chance to whisper doubt into your ear. Most people think you need big wins to feel happy. They think it takes a promotion, a vacation, or a miracle to make a day special. But gratitude can take the most normal, routine day and make it feel like a gift. The same coffee you drink every morning, it tastes better when you are thankful you can afford it, thankful you have a kitchen to make it in, and thankful you have a moment to enjoy it. The same commute you complain about, it feels different when you realize you are blessed to have a job to go to, a car to drive, or legs strong enough to walk. Gratitude doesn't change the situation, it changes how you see it. When you live in gratitude, nothing feels boring. Ordinary moments become sacred. You start noticing the details, the sound of birds outside your window, the comfort of your bed, the warmth of the sun through your window. Gratitude heightens your senses. You taste food differently, hear music differently, and experience people differently because you are aware of how much good is already around you. This is why some people seem happier with less. They have learned to see the beauty in what they already have. Gratitude doesn't make your life perfect, but it makes your life feel full. When you practice gratitude, you stop chasing happiness and start living it. You realize it was never about waiting for a big event. It was about noticing the blessings already in front of you. The fastest way to ruin your morning is to focus on what's wrong. You wake up thinking about what you don't have, who hurt you, or what didn't go your way, and you instantly start your day with a heavy heart. Gratitude flips that. It forces you to acknowledge what's right before you even think about what's missing. You may not have everything you want, but you still have something worth thanking God for. If you focus on problems, you will find more problems. If you focus on blessings, you will find more blessings. Your mind works like a magnet. It pulls in what you dwell on. You could wake up and say, I'm broke, my job is stressful, my life isn't where I want it to be. Or you could say, I have breath, I have a roof, I have another shot to make today better. Both might be true, but one will build you up while the other tears you down. Focusing on what's right doesn't mean ignoring your struggles. It means refusing to let them define your whole outlook. It's about shifting from life is happening to me to life is happening for me. Every morning, make it a habit to list at least 3 things you are grateful for. It could be as big as your family or as small as your morning coffee. The point is to get your brain searching for good before it searches for bad. When you start your day with what's right, you are more creative, more patient, and more open to solutions. Gratitude gives you the strength to face what's missing without being crushed by it. When you start your day thanking God for what you already have, you are proving you trust Him for what's next. You are saying, Lord, I might not see everything you are doing, but I know you have already done enough for me to believe you will keep going. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It's an act of faith. It's declaring that the same God who blessed you yesterday will bless you again today. Faith grows when you can look at your life and see how far God has already brought you. Gratitude reminds you of every answered prayer, every door that opened, every time you thought you were finished but somehow made it through. You don't forget those moments. You carry them as evidence that God is still working on your behalf. Think about it. When you give someone a gift and they appreciate it deeply, it makes you want to give them more. The same principle applies to God. Gratitude shows him that you don't take his blessings for granted and that you trust him with the rest of your journey. That's why the people with the strongest faith are often the most thankful. They have learned that no matter how big the storm, there's always something to thank God for, and that gratitude fuels the belief that the storm will pass. When your eyes open in the morning, it's not by accident. God didn't wake you up just to take up space. He woke you up because your assignment isn't finished. You might think your life has slowed down, your best days are behind you, or you have already missed your chance. But the fact that you are breathing says heaven still has you on the schedule. You have to see your mornings as a divine reminder that your story is still being written. Yesterday might have been rough. Last week might have broken you. Last year might have left scars. But this morning is God's way of telling you the pen hasn't left the page. That means there's still a chapter coming that you haven't read yet. It doesn't matter how many times you have fallen short or messed up. If you woke up, that's proof you are not finished. Too many people think they have run out of purpose because they have made mistakes. But God specializes in using imperfect people to do extraordinary things. Every sunrise is an opportunity. You are here because there's still someone you need to impact, something you need to learn, a door you still need to walk through, and a blessing you still need to receive. You are here because your life still has value beyond what you can see. Sometimes the only thing that keeps you going is realizing you weren't supposed to be here, but you are. You made it through things that could have destroyed you. Nights you cried yourself to sleep, moments you thought you couldn't take another step, yet here you are, opening your eyes again. That's not luck, that's purpose. When you live like God isn't done with you, you carry a different kind of urgency. You stop wasting days in regret and start using them for progress. You stop waiting for perfect timing and start moving with the time you have been given. If you have still got breath, you have still got a reason. You might not know exactly what it is yet, but waking up is the confirmation that your mission on this earth is still in motion and heaven hasn't signed off on your story's ending. The moment you wake up, you are setting the mood for everything that follows. If the first thing you do is complain, you have already trained your mind to look for more problems. But if you wake up thankful, you have just given your mind a head start on finding blessings. The attitude you carry in those first few minutes after you open your eyes has the power to shape your entire day. Think about how you feel when you wake up late, rush to get ready, and run out the door in frustration. It's like the rest of the day keeps matching that same chaotic energy. But when you wake up with calm gratitude and intentional thoughts, somehow even the challenges feel easier to handle. That's not a coincidence. That's your attitude directing your energy. Your mind is like a thermostat in the morning. Whatever temperature you set it to will be the climate you live in all day. If you set it to anger, stress, or worry, you will carry that with you everywhere. But if you set it to joy, peace, and gratitude, that's the environment you will move in, no matter where you go. This is why some people can face the same situations but react completely differently. It's not that life is easier for them. It's that they made a decision early in the day about how they were going to handle it. They didn't wait to see what would happen. They chose their response before the world even had a chance to throw anything at them. If you want your days to feel lighter, start training your mornings to be intentional. Speak out loud what you are grateful for. Remind yourself of what you have survived. Declare how you want your day to go before you even get out of bed. You have more control over your mood than you think. You just have to claim it before the chaos starts. Your morning attitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about deciding you won't let negativity take over before the day even begins. Even if you wake up tired, even if you are facing challenges, you can still choose to carry an energy that makes the day work for you instead of against you. When you understand that the tone of your day is set before you step into it, you stop giving that power away. You stop letting small inconveniences ruin your mood because you have already decided that no matter what comes, your spirit will remain steady. Every morning when you wake up, there are things around you that you barely notice anymore because you are so used to having them. The bed you slept in, the roof that kept the rain off your head, the water that runs when you turn the faucet. These things have become so normal to you that you forget they are blessings. But some wait. In the world, someone is begging God for the very things you barely think about. There's a family right now sleeping on a cold floor, praying for a mattress like the one you complain about. There's a child who's drinking dirty water today, wishing for a clean glass like the one you just filled without thinking twice. There's a man walking miles to work, dreaming of a car like the one you say is too old or not nice enough. When you wake up and overlook your blessings, you start living with a sense of lack instead of a sense of abundance. Gratitude requires you to slow down and notice how much you have already been given. Those little things that don't impress you anymore are miracles to someone else. We live in a world that teaches us to constantly want more money, more things, more status. But if you can't appreciate what you already have, you will never feel like you have enough. That's why your mornings should start with recognition. Lord, I thank you for what's in my hands right now. If you ever doubt how blessed you are, think about what your life would look like if all the things you take for granted were suddenly gone. No electricity, no running water, no safe home, no one to call family. That mental picture alone will snap you back into gratitude real quick. The truth is, your normal is someone else's answered prayer. The life you are living right now, flaws and all, is a dream compared to what some people are enduring. That should make you see your mornings differently. It should make you wake up with a deeper sense of responsibility to be grateful. Gratitude in the morning is about humility. It's about realizing that nothing in your life is too small to thank God for. Because what you overlook every day, someone else is crying out to heaven for tonight. Storms have a way of making you forget everything you have survived before. You start thinking this is the one that's going to break you. But when you stop and thank God for the things that are still standing in your life, it's like you grab hold of a lifeline. That gratitude fuels your faith and keeps you steady. Gratitude doesn't deny the pain. It just refuses to let the pain define the whole picture. You can acknowledge that you are hurting while still recognizing that blessings remain. That balance is what gives you resilience. You are not blind to the struggle, but you are also not blind to the goodness. Think about people who've gone through the toughest seasons and still smile. It's not that they had an easy road. It's that they decided to focus on what was still worth living for. Gratitude became their strength because it reminded them that storms don't last forever, but God's mercy does. When you are thankful in the storm, you are telling yourself this isn't the end. You are affirming that better days are ahead and that the current season is temporary. Gratitude gives you hope, and hope is what keeps you walking forward when it would be easier to sit down and quit. It's easy to thank God when everything is going right. The real test is thanking Him when nothing makes sense. That's when gratitude turns into a weapon. It protects your heart from bitterness and your mind from despair. The storm might be raging, the winds might be loud, but gratitude will keep you anchored. It's your reminder that the same God who's kept you through every past storm is keeping you through this one too. Before you check your phone, before you scroll through the news, before you let the world dump its noise into your mind, you need to talk to God. That first conversation of the day is what determines whether you step into the day feeling empty or filled. Morning prayer isn't just a ritual. It's the power source that charges your spirit for everything you're about to face. When you pray in the morning, you are not just asking for things. You are aligning yourself with the one who already knows what the day holds. You are saying, Lord, guide me, strengthen me, and keep me. You are handing over control, so you are not walking blindly through the day, trying to figure it all out alone. Prayer in the morning is like setting a spiritual GPS. It keeps you from drifting off course because you have already invited God to lead the way. Even when the unexpected comes, you are less shaken because you have already anchored yourself in His presence before the storm has a chance to hit. Some people treat prayer like a fire alarm, only pulling it when there's trouble. But the strongest days are built when you pray before trouble even shows up. Morning prayer prepares you, centers you, and arms you so you are ready for whatever the day brings. It doesn't have to be fancy or long. You could be sitting at the edge of your bed whispering, "Thank you, God, for waking me up. Help me walk in wisdom today. Protect me and my loved ones. Use me to bless someone." That alone is enough to shift the atmosphere around you. When you start with prayer, your perspective changes. Things that would normally irritate you feel smaller. Problems that would usually stress you feel more manageable. You begin to see solutions instead of just obstacles because you have started the day in communication with the problem solver. Your morning prayer is your declaration that you are not stepping into the day on your strength. You are stepping in with divine backing, spiritual clarity, and a heart that's already been reminded where your real power comes from. When you start your morning with gratitude, it changes how you treat the people around you. You are less likely to snap at someone, less likely to carry irritation into conversations, and more likely to give grace when others fall short. Gratitude softens your heart, and a softened heart handles people with more patience. A thankful person doesn't walk around feeling like the world owes them something. When you appreciate what you already have, you are not easily offended or constantly disappointed by others. You stop demanding perfection from people because you know how much you have been blessed despite your imperfections. When you wake up bitter or frustrated, you carry that into every interaction. You end up projecting your unhappiness onto everyone around you. But when you wake up with gratitude, you carry a different energy. People feel calmer around you, more encouraged, and more understood. Gratitude reminds you that every person you deal with is fighting battles you can't see. Instead of being quick to judge or criticize, you become more willing to listen. You respond instead of react. That shift alone can keep conflicts small and relationships stronger. Even in difficult relationships, gratitude can change the way you approach things. You start focusing on what's good about the person instead of what's wrong with them. You remember the moments they were there for you, the ways they have helped, or the lessons you have learned from them. That doesn't erase problems, but it makes them easier to address without anger. When you are thankful for the people in your life, you value them more. You say please and thank you more often. You notice their efforts instead of overlooking them. Gratitude fuels appreciation, and appreciation fuels connection. Your attitude toward people is often a reflection of your inner state. If your heart is full of thanks, it's much harder for irritation to take control. Gratitude makes it possible to navigate relationships with a level head and a steady spirit, even on the days when others are difficult to love. When you start thanking God for the small steps, you begin to see progress where most people only see nothing happening. We often overlook those tiny moves forward because we're so focused on the big breakthrough. But every giant leap you have ever taken in life was built on a series of small, almost unnoticeable steps. That phone call you made, that one extra page you wrote, that single day you chose to get out of bed and try again, those were victories too. Gratitude for the little progress fuels your hope and keeps your faith alive in the waiting season. See, the danger of only thanking God for big wins is that you teach your heart to only celebrate rarely. If you are only grateful when you buy the house, land the dream job, or hit the big milestone, then you will miss the hundreds of blessings that led you there. When you recognize God in the small beginnings, you train your spirit to see Him working daily, not just occasionally. And when you see Him daily, your joy and motivation never run dry, even when the big win hasn't arrived yet. Sometimes God doesn't give you the whole picture because you'd either get overwhelmed or try to skip the process. Instead, He gives you a piece, then another piece, step by step, because each one prepares you for the next. If you can't appreciate the small steps, you won't respect the big blessing when it comes. The little doors you walk through now might look ordinary, but they are leading you to extraordinary places. Gratitude turns every step into a celebration instead of a burden. Even in the Bible, God said, "Do not despise these small beginnings." That's because the small steps carry the same divine weight as the final breakthrough. You praying for 5 minutes today is a step. You controlling your temper once is a step. You saving a little money instead of blowing it all is a step. If you can say thank you for those, you will build a habit of recognizing God's hand in all seasons, not just in the highlight reel moments. And let's be honest, life is built more on small steps than big wins. The big win moments are rare, but the steps that get you there happen every single day. If you don't learn to be grateful in the small steps, you will walk through most of your life feeling like you are losing, when in reality, you are winning quietly. That quiet winning is what sets you up for loud victories later. Gratitude for small steps also keeps your heart humble. It reminds you that you are not where you used to be, even if you are not yet where you want to be. It stops you from comparing your journey to someone else's because you are too busy appreciating how far God has brought you already. And when you stay humble and thankful, you remain teachable, which means you will keep growing and moving forward without even realizing how much progress you have made. Before you know it, those small steps you thank God for will add up to the big wins you once prayed for. But here's the thing, you will handle those big wins better because your heart learned patience, faith, and gratitude along the way. The same God who walked with you in the small steps will be the same God who celebrates with you when the doors finally swing wide open, and you will remember every little moment that brought you there. When you live with gratitude, your whole perspective on life changes. Suddenly, the things you used to dread start to look like privileges. You stop saying, I have to go to work, and start saying, I get to go to work. That shift might sound small, but it's powerful because not everyone woke up today with a job to go to. Not everyone has the health to get out of bed. Not everyone has the opportunity you have been taking for granted. Gratitude flips the script in your mind and makes even responsibilities feel like blessings. Think about it. How different would your day feel if you approached every task with a get-to attitude? Instead of complaining that you have to cook dinner, you remember that you get to feed your family, you get to nourish yourself, and you get to enjoy a meal while some people are going hungry tonight. Gratitude takes the weight off the things you have been dragging yourself through and replaces it with a sense of purpose. It doesn't change the task, it changes you while doing it. You can be standing in the same situation as someone else, but your mindset will determine how you feel about it. One person says, I have to take care of my parents. Another says, I get to take care of the people who took care of me. The work is the same, but the heart is different. Gratitude puts joy into duty, love into labor, and appreciation into effort. When you see it this way, you are not stuck. You are trusted with something meaningful. This is why gratitude is so freeing. It removes the sense of obligation and replaces it with opportunity. You are no longer a victim of your schedule. You are a steward of your blessings. Even in the hard stuff, there's something to be thankful for. You get to wake up and try again. You get to learn from mistakes. You get to grow from challenges. That's why grateful people are so resilient, because they are too busy seeing what they get to do to be weighed down by what they have to do. Gratitude also changes your energy around people. If you are thankful for your job, you treat coworkers differently. If you are thankful for your family, you are more patient with them. If you are thankful for your health, you take better care of yourself. That get-to mentality softens your tone, strengthens your relationships, and makes your presence more uplifting. People can feel when you are walking in gratitude. It's contagious. Even in the moments that feel exhausting, gratitude can transform the atmosphere. You might feel tired after a long day, but gratitude reminds you, I get to be tired because I worked hard for something that matters. You might feel stretched thin by responsibilities, but gratitude whispers, I get to be needed. And when you start living in that space, you find joy even in what used to frustrate you. Every day you have a choice to see life as a burden or to see it as a gift. Gratitude is the lens that reveals the blessing in the burden. It reminds you that not everyone gets the chance to do what you are doing. What feels like a chore to you might be someone else's answered prayer. And when you start seeing it that way, Life stops being something you survive and starts being something you truly appreciate. Gratitude keeps you humble because it reminds you that everything you have isn't solely because of your strength or intelligence, but because God allowed it, people helped you, and opportunities aligned in your favor. When you are truly grateful, you stop acting like you are entitled to blessings and start acknowledging that they are gifts. Humility comes naturally when you look back and see how far you have come, not because you were perfect, but because grace carried you through mistakes, closed doors, and seasons where you could have easily given up. Gratitude strips away arrogance because you realize you are not self-made. You are God-made. Sure, you may have worked hard, but who gave you the strength to get up every day? Who placed you in the right place at the right time? Who kept you safe when you didn't even know you were in danger? The moment you stop giving credit to God and others is the moment pride takes over, and pride will make you think you are untouchable until life humbles you the hard way. When you are grateful, you appreciate people instead of you. Sing them. You treat the janitor with the same respect as the CEO. You don't look down on others because you remember there was a time you were at the bottom too. Gratitude forces you to acknowledge that people along the way, even those you didn't like, contributed to your growth in some way. That humility keeps your relationship strong and your character intact. A humble heart is attractive because it's real. No one likes being around someone who constantly brags or acts like they are better than everyone else. Gratitude keeps you grounded because it keeps your eyes on the blessings, not on comparing yourself to others. The more thankful you are, the less you feel the need to prove anything, because you already know everything you have is a privilege, not a guarantee. Gratitude also makes you more teachable. If you think you know everything, you will stop growing. But when you are thankful, you realize you still have so much to learn, so much to improve, and so many people you can learn from. That humility opens doors because people are more willing to pour into someone willing to listen than someone who acts like they have already arrived. When you stay humble through gratitude, you also handle success better. Success without gratitude turns into arrogance, but success with gratitude turns into influence. Instead of saying, "Look at me," you say, "Look at what God did through me." And that kind of humility attracts more opportunities, more trust, and more favor because people see your heart is in the right place. Gratitude shifts your focus from "I deserve this" to "I'm blessed to have this." That small shift in mindset changes how you treat people, how you handle challenges, and how you see yourself. It makes you slower to judge, quicker to forgive, and more patient with others because you know that without the grace you have received, you wouldn't be where you are today. Gratitude is a daily choice, not a feeling. Too many people wait until they feel thankful before they express it. But if you wait on your emotions, you will miss out on most of your blessings. Gratitude is a decision you make before the day even unfolds. It's waking up and saying, "I choose to see the good today," before you even check your phone or step out of bed. It's deciding that no matter how the day turns out, you are going to look for something to appreciate. Feelings come and go, but choices create habits, and gratitude is a habit that has to be built intentionally. If gratitude were just a feeling, it would only show up on the good days. But life isn't made of only good days. Some mornings you wake up tired, stressed, or with 1,000 problems staring you in the face. That's when gratitude becomes even more powerful. You look at your situation and still say, "I'm thankful." Not because you are ignoring the problem, but because you are choosing not to let the problem control you. Gratitude in tough times is not fake. It's faith in action, reminding you that there's still something worth holding on to. The truth is, feelings will follow your focus. If you focus on what's missing, you will feel empty. If you focus on what's wrong, you will feel hopeless. But when you choose to focus on what's right, even if it's small, your heart starts to shift. You might start the day feeling frustrated, but if you keep looking for things to be thankful for, you will notice your mood changing. Gratitude turns the light on in rooms that feel dark, and the light doesn't show up because you felt good. It shows up because you chose to flip the switch. Choosing gratitude daily also keeps you grounded. It reminds you that life is not owed to you, it's given to you. The people you love, the air you breathe, the opportunities you have, they are not guaranteed. When you choose to notice and appreciate them, you stop living entitled and start living aware. That awareness changes how you speak, how you act, and how you treat people. It's hard to be bitter when you have chosen to be grateful. Daily gratitude is also an anchor in the chaos. Some days everything feels like it's falling apart, but gratitude becomes your stability. It's the thing you hold on to when circumstances are out of your control. It's waking up and saying, I'm thankful for another day, even when you don't know how the day will end. That choice doesn't erase the pain, but it keeps you from drowning in it. It reminds you that even in the storm, there's something worth staying afloat for. Gratitude as a choice also pushes you to notice the little things, the smile from a stranger, the cup of coffee that hits just right, the text from a friend checking in. These things might seem small, but they add up. And when you choose to see them, you stop waiting for big blessings before you celebrate. You start living in a constant state of appreciation because you have trained your eyes to spot goodness everywhere. The best part is, the more you choose gratitude, the more it becomes your default setting. It's no longer just something you practice when you remember. It becomes who you are. You start waking up looking for reasons to be thankful before the day even gives you one. You stop letting your emotions dictate your perspective and start letting your perspective dictate your emotions. That's when you realize gratitude isn't just a reaction. It's a lifestyle you build on purpose every single day. Gratitude breaks the cycle of negativity because it shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already present in your life. When you train your mind to notice blessings instead of problems, you start seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. Negativity thrives on scarcity thinking, constantly telling you there's not enough, you are not enough, and life is against you. Gratitude interrupts that pattern by reminding you that there is always something to be thankful for, even if it's as small as having breath in your lungs or a roof over your head. The moment you acknowledge even the smallest blessings, you weaken the grip of negativity over your thoughts. Negativity feeds on attention. The more you replay complaints, grudges, and frustrations in your mind, the more your brain starts to believe that's all there is. But gratitude flips that script. It forces you to look at life through a different lens, one that searches for good instead of dwelling on bad. It's like changing the channel in your mind. You can either keep watching the program of self-pity and anger or switch to the broadcast of hope and appreciation. That switch doesn't happen automatically. You have to make it happen intentionally, moment by moment. Sometimes you will be in seasons where negativity feels easier to believe than hope. Life can hit you so hard that being grateful feels fake. But that's when gratitude becomes even more powerful, because it's not just about reacting to good things, it's about declaring them even when life looks messy. When you start saying, I'm thankful for what I still have in the middle of loss, or I'm grateful for the lesson in the middle of struggle, you break the enemy's plan to keep you trapped in bitterness. Gratitude becomes your weapon, and weapons are meant to be used, not just admired. Negativity isolates you, but gratitude connects you to God, to others, and even to yourself. When you are grateful, you find yourself treating people better, speaking more life over situations, and smiling more. It's hard to stay bitter when you are actively counting blessings. Your energy changes, your presence changes, and even the way people respond to you changes. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel better, it makes you better. Another thing about gratitude is that it reprograms your brain over time. The more you practice it, the more your default setting shifts from look for the bad to find the good. This is why people who constantly give thanks seem lighter, happier, and more hopeful, even when they have real problems. They have built a habit of interrupting negative thought patterns before they spiral out of control. Instead of feeding the fire of frustration, they pour water on it with appreciation. Negativity never completely disappears from life. You will still face disappointments, hear bad news, and deal with frustrations. But gratitude stops those moments from becoming your identity. It's like a shield. It doesn't prevent every arrow from flying your way, but it blocks them from piercing your heart. It keeps you grounded in truth instead of drowning in complaints. When you live with gratitude, You create an atmosphere around you that negativity can't survive in. Complaints can't grow in a heart that's already full of thankfulness. Bitterness can't take root when you are constantly watering the soil of your soul with appreciation. And slowly, without even realizing it, you will notice that you don't carry the same heaviness you used to, because gratitude has been breaking the cycle that once kept you stuck. Gratitude helps you see God's hand in everything, because when you live with a thankful heart, you start recognizing moments that other people dismiss as coincidence. You begin to realize that the timing of certain events, the way certain doors opened, the people who came into your life at the exact right moment, none of that was random. That was God orchestrating the details behind the scenes. And the more you practice gratitude, the more sensitive you become to those divine fingerprints all over your life. It's like putting on spiritual glasses. You suddenly see the invisible. When you are ungrateful, your eyes are locked on what's missing, what's wrong, or what you wish you had. That mindset blinds you from seeing God's hand already at work. But when you intentionally thank Him, even for small things, your perspective shifts. The promotion you didn't get might have been God protecting you from a toxic environment. The relationship that ended might have been God's way of making space for the person He's truly sending your way. Gratitude opens your eyes to His wisdom in the detours, delays, and disappointments. Gratitude also makes you more aware of the daily blessings you have been overlooking. You stop taking the little things for granted, the air in your lungs, the roof over your head, the food on your table. And when you start appreciating those small blessings, you realize they are massive blessings. You see God's provision in ways that make your heart overflow. Suddenly, you are not just surviving, you are thriving with joy, because you understand how much you already have. When you see God's hand in everything, you stop blaming Him when life feels unfair. Instead, you trust that even the hard seasons are part of a bigger plan. Gratitude doesn't make the pain disappear, but it allows you to see purpose in the pain. You start to notice how that tough season is building your strength, shaping your character, and teaching you lessons you wouldn't have learned otherwise. It's a deep awareness that God's fingerprints are on both the blessings and the battles. When you know God has been working in your life all along, you begin to believe that He's still working right now. You live with an unshakable anticipation that something good is coming, because you have seen how He's shown up before. That expectancy fuels your faith, and faith keeps you walking forward even when the road doesn't make sense, because you have learned to trust His hand even when you can't see the full picture. You can miss God's blessings if you are always complaining. Gratitude flips the switch from why me to thank you, Lord. You start recognizing the ways He has been answering prayers you forgot you prayed. The job that seemed insignificant turns out to be a training ground for your future. The challenge that made you cry becomes the exact thing that positioned you for your breakthrough. Gratitude trains your mind to search for evidence of God's goodness instead of evidence of your problems. The more you choose gratitude, the more you will see that God has never left you. His hand has been guiding, protecting, and providing every step of the way, even in moments when you felt forgotten. You will begin to see that closed doors were blessings in disguise, that delays were part of His perfect timing, and that every answered prayer, no matter how small, is a reminder that the Creator of the universe is personally involved in your story. When you live in gratitude, you are not just saying thank you for what you have. You are positioning yourself for what's next. Gratitude is like a key that unlocks the next door in your life. People think blessings just come because you want them, but no, blessings flow when God sees you have honored what He's already placed in your hands. If you are complaining about the small apartment, how will you handle the big house? If you are grumbling over the job you have now, how will you steward the promotion? Gratitude makes God trust you with more, because it shows you know how to value what's already yours. The truth is, many people block their blessings by living in a state of dissatisfaction. They wake up and immediately focus on what's missing, so they overlook what's already been provided. But when you shift to the heart of gratitude, your eyes open to the fact that you are already richer than you think. You start to notice the little things the breath in your lungs, the food on your table, the people who care about you. That awareness creates a spirit that God can bless even more.